Friends, welcome, and here we go with the tutorial for the box drawer flip top. And I have cut all of the pieces, and I just wanted to mention that a beautiful thing about this die set is that you don't have to reuse the dies over and over for the most part. There's only a couple that you have to do more than once. The rest of them, you just cut each thing just one time, and you have all the pieces you need to create the box and most of the mat pieces. So the pink is just an example of what it looks like when it's just like a little naked box without all the mat on it. And the blue is what I'm putting together today. So I'm just showing you here how it just kind of fits around that. That is the sleeve for the drawer, and we'll be making the drawer part first. Just going through and folding all of the edges because having everything with a crisp fold on it really helps with this project. So this lays out in kind of a cross form when you are putting it together. So this is the base piece, and then I'm going to glue the sides on it using the tabs for the to be able to fold it all together. And my glue was being persnickety here, so it'll be just a moment before I get going. All right, so I'm just gonna lay these out side by side so you can kind of see where they go, just like that. Super duper easy. And I'm just gonna run some glue along the edge here and then pop the tabs on. You can use tape for this, but I like the glue. I like that it allows me to slide things around a little bit before it really sticks. And you'll see that I flip it over each time and make sure that the little dots are aligned with enough spacing before I do any like really heavy burnishing down. So this one didn't turn out quite like I wanted it to because it was sticking out a little much, and this is the part that has to slide in and out of the sleeve, and I wanted to make sure that it is made as tightly and cleanly as possible so that it can slide in and out really easy. Next, I'm going to take the tabs and glue them to the insides of the box. It gets a little tricky to see what I'm doing here, but if you work with paper at all, you'll know that this is pretty common sense. You're going to glue these little sides in, and then you're going to burnish them down and then glue the flaps down to make the sides of the little drawer nice and firm and solid, so that it is a very sturdy little drawer box by the time you put it all together. Now I'm going to go ahead and just glue each of the flaps down, and you'll notice that I'm putting a little bit of glue right on top of the original tabs just to make sure that there's plenty of stick to it so it will stay down. You probably have seen that little hole that's in the front by now, and I did say the front with intention because that is the front of the drawer, and it is where you will glue the little inside piece that makes the little lift up flap spot, and the hole is just where you can poke the handle through, the drawer pull through that you will use to pull the drawer in and out of the sleeve. And I'm burnishing everything down really good. These sides are super important for making it nice and solid and making sure that the box stays together really well. And the other sides, they don't do anything more than just make it more solid. And of course, I've got my good intentions built into everything. I think I've got health and happiness and joy glued into these boxes. So there's that little hole that I was talking about a moment ago, and this is the piece that you're going to glue right into the front. So it just kind of curls around in there. The back glues right onto the back, and then the side flaps will glue onto the side. However, this is a larger piece that glues into the back of the whole box, and I wanted to put that in before I glue the little flap piece in there, the little hidden surprise box, because otherwise you have to cut it just right to be able to fit. It is not die cut to size. And so I'm putting that in, and then I'm putting the side panels for the inside in right now before I glue in the little box, the surprise spot. Now we're back to the construction of the actual drawer. And so this little piece right here that I'll be putting in creates that little flap that you can lift up. And so if this is a gift that you're giving to somebody, you can put a little surprise in there. The back panel glues onto the back side. So it's the other end that doesn't have that little hole, and it goes straight down at the bottom all the way up to the edge, the front edge of that. And that is the side with the little hole in it. So you're doing this towards the front. And then these flaps, it's tricky. You got to make sure to fold them down really good. Otherwise you're going to get glue smeared all over the side. And that may be a reason why you don't want to glue those sides on just yet. But you fold them so that those are touching the very front of the drawer, and burnish those down so that everything is really tight in there. And then you can just fold your little flap right down right there. So it's just like that pink one, just showing that it ended up exactly like that, except for I have the panels glued in already. Now we are ready to put the sleeve construction together. So there is a longer piece, and then there's this piece that you're going to glue onto that. So the little flap goes right there onto the end of that. So just put a decent amount of glue or tape if that's what you're doing. And just a note, when you're making the sleeve, while I made the drawer really tight and made sure that the seams were really tight together, when I made the sleeve, I knew that I'm going to have to be sliding things in and out. And so I was slightly more generous. That doesn't mean like a 1/4 inch or anything like that. It just means like a teensy weensy bit more, making sure that it's loose enough that it's going to slide in and out pretty easy. And I have to say that I built 3 of these, and this one turned out the best of all because I was really intentional about making sure to leave just a hair bit bigger. So there, you'll notice that there's little dots, these score marks, and I just made sure that I had a little more room. Okay, so gluing the tabs down now, and you can see it just kind of curls around itself, and it makes a sleeve that the drawer fits right inside. And burnishing to make everything stick really good. And then you're left with this piece that's sticking out, and you have it will fold back, and so you have this like kind of oddball piece, and you glue the tabs on there, and that is the part that folds back when you put the drawer together. The magic of this drawer was a little bit mind-blowing to me, a little confusing, and once I figured it out, it was just like, oh, okay, now I get it. But I needed to really process this to figure out how to put it together. So once you have this, you can slide the drawer in there. Just be really careful that you don't get it stuck, because it will want to stay in there, and you don't have the drawer pull on there yet. So be really careful, and when you do slide it in, if you want to. Next up, I'm just putting on all of the mats. I did the super sped up version of this. The mat pieces are pretty similar in size quite often, and so it's important that you lay everything out beforehand and just make sure that you're putting things in the right place before you start gluing things down. Otherwise, things can get mixed up because there's a lot of rectangles that are the panels that go into this. The other thing that I wanted to note is that when you glue things down, just making sure that there are no edges standing up. Because this is a drawer situation, you want things to be able to slide in and out with ease. To that end, you do not have to put the side panels on the inside or on the outside of the drawer that are going in and out of the panel. I like the way it looked, and so I was just really intentional about making sure to burnish everything down, going back and double checking the edges to make sure that there's nothing sticking up at all. And I've been pretty successful with that and fortunate. So have fun decorating it however you want. Obviously, I'm using the Stamperia collection of Alice in Wonderland that I got from piececraftlove.com. It's a beautiful collection. It's gorgeous, and it is perfect for making the little diorama that's on the inside of the box. And this time I'm working with Tweedledee, Tweedledum, and Alice. This is just a super quick portion where I'm using my finger blade to do the detail work, cutting out Alice, Tweedledee, and Tweedledum. And it's not rocket science, but I just wanted to show you how I do that. The finger blade will be linked down in the description box if you're interested in getting one. It's my favorite tool. And last up is putting Alice and Tweedledee and Tweedledum into their home that will be permanent. I'm sure you noticed that I did leave a little bit of space on the bottom of each of the characters, so I could just fold it back and they could have a little glue on the bottom and stand up. And then I'm adding some butterflies, a little picture frame, and I didn't end up using the clock, but I'm using dimensional foam tape to put it all together, and I love the way this one turned out. So enjoy and have fun making your own. Like I said, this is a die collection that's available from Scrap Diva Designs. I will have it linked in the description box. Have fun with it. If you make one and post it to Instagram, please tag me and Erica of scrapdiva.29, and I know that we would both love to see what you created and how it turned out. Thank you, friends, and I hope you enjoyed our little trip down the rabbit hole.